Come with us where the corn is popped and the throwback Thursdays never stop. It's a magical land not far away. All you have to do is just press play.
So
hop on the couch and close your eyes. Gonna party like it's 99. Join us, watch the movies of our lives with Blockbuster Wives.
Welcome to Blockbuster Wives, where your two favorite 90s babies talk about movies from the era of a certain blue and yellow video rental store. Guess which one? I'm your host with the why am I? Oh my god, mindfuck. Shea
February. Mindfuck February. And this is Stacy, not always kind, but always rewinds. And you're listening to Blockbuster Wives. Are you all thoroughly spooked out by this month's slate of mindfuck movies?
Honestly, if you guys have been following throughout, like, my mind feels a little tired. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
Do you feel that way at all or no?
No. But
Maybe
I've seen more of these films than you have.
I was gonna say, you know what it is? I find so much comfort out of watching and I'm not making a joke, the literal same shit, like, over and over and over again. It brings me comfort. So the fact that, like, we're watching, first of all, new movies, but the fact that they're so, like, you really have to be so present while you're watching them, like, that's it's different for me.
Yeah, but I've seen each one of these films, so that's why I think it's, like,
True.
not the first time for me. So I'm a little more oriented, whereas you are having your mind blown
True.
for the first time, with the exception of Fight Club.
True. Fight Club and
Eternal Sunshine. Okay.
But the other two, yeah, they were. But also, I need to say, Fight Club and Eternal, I watched them both, like, a while back. Eternal, I loved immediately. The first... both times I watched it, but the first time I watched it, I was like, this is like one of my favorite movies. And then I just hadn't watched it again because it broke my heart at the time.
Yeah, and that's what's funny about really, really good movies is sometimes you don't want to watch them a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, thank you, that was great. I'm emotionally shattered, and I will not be coming back.
Exactly. That's how I felt about Eternal, but obviously I wanted to watch it.
And we are talking about the Marvel movie Eternals. Oh, I'm totally
Yeah.
kidding. What if you're just like, that's your personality quirk?
Just so you guys know, in no universe will I be like, oh my god, Marvel.
Never say never.
Well, it's sick. It's cool. I don't dislike it, but I'll...
I like them, but it's so intimidating because they come out with a movie like every day and they're all connected and like you have to know every single fucking plot line, and I'm like, who has the time?
I think that's part of the reason why I don't partake necessarily. It's not that I don't know. If someone was like, yo, you want to see the new hippity hoo blah blah movie, I'd be like, sure. But it's not like my first choice.
Not your Steve.
Exactly. Not necessarily. But I won't like hate on it. Like, I'll be there and I'll be like, this is cool. I guess.
I just don't like the way, like, sometimes there'll be like these godlike dudes being superheroes and then they'll just like say the stupidest lines.
Right.
And you're like, all right,
Like,
you're not as cool.
And I have to bring him back to life. And it's like, and it's like, okay.
Well.
Like, you're so good. I like the ones that are more funny. Like, Ant-Man was more funny. I haven't
seen Ant-Man.
Okay, I liked Ant-Man a lot. I was like, okay. And also, TBH, I'm way more of like a Batman girly.
Oh, because he's like a hot, rich daddy with tech?
Not even that. There's something about the story that I really like, which is weird because...
I do like how like aggressively goth and like dark it is,
especially
like,
with this new one.
Oh yeah,
this new
I
one.
haven't seen the newest one. Is it like 4,000 hours long?
Dude, it's so good. It really is so good, and they chose the perfect song that I would have never thought to use.
Ooh, what song?
Something in the Way by Nirvana.
Ooh, with Robert. And I think Robert Pattinson's super hot.
He's super hot. And you know what? I didn't think he was hot legitimately until this movie. And I was like, oh.
I thought he was hot in Twilight. I'm not going to lie to y'all.
No, like now I go back and I have watched Twilight numerous times, way too late, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I see what everyone was seeing at the time. At the time, I wasn't into it, but I am now. He's super hot.
I love those movies. They're so camp and crazy and ridiculous.
I love them now. I hated them back in the day, and I love them now. They were
a lot back in the day. They were being shoved down all of our throats.
Yeah, I think
but now that's not happening. You could just enjoy it as like a pretty bad but fun movie. It's
Yeah.
like, go Kristen Stewart, you little awkward ass.
I love quote unquote bad movie. We both
Oh,
love
yeah.
bad movies.
As you might be able to tell from this podcast. We cover a lot of quote unquote bad movies. But today is a very, very different course because the movie we're going to talk about today is like number 1 on best movies in the fucking century list. Like, people love, I shouldn't say people, critics love this movie. They're like, this is film, this is art.
Yes, which why don't we just go right into it? We decided to end, and by we I mean Stacy, because you chose this one, right?
Yeah, so I picked Donnie Darko and Mulholland Drive.
Right.
Shay picked Fight Club and Eternal Sunshine, just as background.
Yep. And we're ending on this one in particular. It is, I mean, definitely the most mind-fucky.
Yeah, I picked this one because this is the film that most vividly stands out to me. Like, after watching it, I was like, what?
Yeah, just
like most other movies, I'm like, oh, cool, I get it. Like, Donnie Darko was confusing.
Right.
But this movie, I was like, what?
Yeah, like,
what?
Your mind is, like, jumbled.
Like, I'm disoriented.
Disorienting is the best way to describe it. Because there's no, well, we'll talk about it, but there's no, like, one lane to follow the entire time. You think that you know kind of what's going on, and then it flips it on it. Why can't I speak today? It flips it on its head.
And
it
then
puts
you're like,
it puts the lotion in the basket.
It does a lot of things, is our point. That's what we're really trying to say. And this film is, did we already say it? Oh, yes, we did. Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive. All right. And I'm going on corporate bullshit, so here we go.
Yeah, we're going to do all this, and then we'll get to our very special guest.
Very special guest.
Corporate bullshit.
Some bullshit.
All right, cool. So Mulholland Drive was released in 2001. And it's a surrealist neo-noir mystery film directed by David Lynch.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't this also come out in like October 2001?
Yep, it quite literally came out. So
like Donnie Darko almost exactly the same time.
Yeah, so like the release date, the first release date was actually for the Cannes Music Festival. Music, dude, who am I? Where am I?
It's a fucking music festival.
It was the Cannes.
A lot of people don't know
Cannes.
this, but Cannes is actually a music festival.
Most people wouldn't know about that.
It was invented.
The Cannes Film Festival. It was released May 16th, 2001. But the actual like in theaters actual release date was October 12th.
Okay, so pre 9/11 Cannes Film Fest, post 9/11 release.
Right.
They didn't have to deal with the plane crash imagery that Donnie Darko did, but
other like pretty
very dark.
Dark, yeah, very dark
I wonder
imagery.
if that's reflected in the box office numbers. I can't wait to hear them.
Oh, okay. So, I want to actually talk about David Lynch for a sec because I learned so much about him as I was like going through this. So, if you don't recognize his name, you might recognize some of the other things that he's done. So he, I think, wrote and directed Eraserhead, Elephant Man, the first Dune that came out in the 80s, Blue Velvet, and Twin Peaks, the TV show.
Dune, woof.
Yeah, like yikes.
Awful.
I saw the new one in theaters, like gone out of my fucking mind, like Gorilla High. Not a good idea.
I was actually talking about the one from the 80s that Lynch did. That was very bad.
Yeah, I can only imagine because the new one is like, you know, filled with new technology and fucking Timothée Chalamet and shit, but like not good. So I can't even imagine what the 80s one was like.
Yeah, the new one I thought was beautiful, but I
Yes.
felt like it was basically just a soundtrack, and the soundtrack was awesome.
Yes.
I was like, this is just like a soundtrack with a movie attached,
Right.
and nothing's actually happening.
That's how I felt. Well, and also to be fair, again, I was like gonzo burrito, so I do not know the plot like at all. Like I could not, if it gun to my head, I could not tell anyone the plot.
I don't think a lot of people could, except
Okay.
there's like a big worm,
Yes.
and Timmy Shams is like the chosen one, maybe,
Right.
and he's in the desert.
And then Zendaya shows up at the end in slow motion for like 30 minutes, and then it's over.
Yeah, and I was very upset because like Timothy Shamalama Ding Dong is like 17 years old, and he just learned how to fight. And they put him against like the native people's like best warrior,
Yeah.
and he like ices him in 5 seconds.
Right.
Like it's not even hard.
Right.
Like even like holds back. I'm like, okay, like
I kind of remember. I
like
remember
a
like
little
the
bit more of a
box,
fight.
right? He put like his hand in a box.
That was at the beginning, yeah.
Okay.
And it's like pain, and he was like, oh my god.
like-
But then he doesn't take his hand out, so they're like, you're the chosen one.
That part was pretty amazing acting. I will say.
Mhm.
I remember being like, "Whoa, pretty cool," but like,
It's very
fuck
bro.
off. Yeah, not great.
No.
Okay,
Like,
but
where were we?
but where were anyways? So David Lynch did direct that. And a couple fun facts about him. Weirdly enough, he was originally trained as a painter, and his paintings are like really dark and like very cool.
That's awesome.
Very like Bacon-esque, kind of remind me of Hazen's, you know, like pretty cool.
Look up Hazen Mayo's art if you
Yep.
haven't seen it.
Please look up Hazen Mayo, and you will be so happy. That's my little brother. He's an amazing painter, like genuinely so good. He also was the highest rate of an Eagle Scout you can be, and his troop was outside the White House as JFK was being inaugurated, which was also on his 15th birthday.
Weird. Is he LDS? Or,
Oh.
I mean, I don't want to assume all Boy Scouts are LDS, but like a big chunk of them are.
I don't think
That
so,
would be
but-
fascinating if he was.
But you're
I'm
right.
getting a shaking head no from our producer.
Almost every Eagle Scout I know, though, was Mormon.
I think that's just
Like,
us living in
fact.
Las Vegas, I guess.
You know who else was almost an Eagle Scout? Ashton Kutcher. Maybe
Really?
it's just like something with like people who want to act.
Maybe. They're overachievers.
But yeah, loser. No, grow up, get a job. Also, I think he got a new fan base during the beginning of the pandemic because he started these like weird weather reports on YouTube, and then
David Lynch did?
Yes, and then he also had a segment called "Today's Number Is," and then he'd like choose a random like bingo ball with a number 1 to 10, and he would just be like, "Today's number 6," and it was just like, okay, and it's like, what does
I
that
love
mean?
that.
Nobody knows. It's
It
so
doesn't
David
mean
Lynch.
anything. It's provocative.
It's provocative. Gets the people going.
I do think he is like one of the hotter directors.
He's so on. I'm picturing his like wafty hair with his fucking
His
sunglasses
vertical
and shit.
ass hair.
And he's like getting up there.
It still looks great.
But he looks amazing. I was thinking that today. I was like, is it just me? Clearly not.
Every time I see a picture of him, I'm like, oh. And he seems
Yeah.
like he's really tall. Or is that just his
He-
tall ass hair?
He I think it's both. I
Adds
think he's
a
probably
foot.
tall. Dang, I should have looked up his stats.
It's not too late.
Anyway, the movie is starring Naomi Watts, Justin Theroux, Laura Herring, who I have another fun fact about her. She was the first Hispanic woman crowned Miss USA in 1985.
I have
And-
a height update real quick.
Oh yeah, please.
He's 5'11".
See?
Not as tall as I would have thought. I think the hair is adding some height.
Or maybe he is 5'11", and then his hair adds more inches.
6 inches.
Yeah. The perfect height. The perfect hair height. No, but yeah, Laura Herring, who plays quote unquote Rita
Rita / Camilla /
yeah.
who knows.
Yeah. She was the first Hispanic woman to win Miss USA in
Really?
1985, which is so cool.
1985. Okay.
And then just a few years later, she's like, you know what? I want to start acting. And then she did.
And she is gorgeous and talented.
Holy shit. Yeah. Very talented. Very gorgy. The movie is 146 minutes.
Long.
Way over our time.
Ooh, yeah, woof.
Yeah, that was a big yikes. Budget was 15 million.
Wait, 15?
15.
That's it?
That's it. 15 mil.
Wow.
I know.
That's so low.
I know.
Huh.
And their box office was only 20.1 million, which I think has a lot to do with 9/11.
Yeah, and
Just
maybe
saying.
everyone hated Dune still, and they were like, this guy's back.
You're like, I don't think so. Although he did gain a lot of traction for Twin Peaks, but I don't know how popular it was like back then. I know it's really popular now.
Yeah, people love it. I tried watching it, and I will not lie, I was just very bored and like, I was like, can we speed this up? And that is one thing about Lynch. He lingers on a scene.
He sure
is
does.
not afraid to stretch it out for like a solid 5 minutes.
Which is kind of funny because there's a moment in the movie where they kind of discuss that. Like one of the, what is it, like the director in the film that they're discussing at a certain part is like, you need to deliver this line slower. Relish in the moment. And I was like, I wonder if that's like, you know, he's kind of talking about himself there. Because he definitely fucking does that. It got an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Lower than I would have thought.
Yep. And it got an 87% audience score.
Wow, pretty even Stevens.
Pretty even Steven. And then Roger Ebert.
Ooh, I bet he liked it.
What do you think he rated it?
I think he probably gave it like 3.5 or 4.
You're absolutely right.
Really?
He gave it 4 stars.
Dang.
So we've had 2 movies in a row now that he's given 4 stars.
He loves Mindfuck February just as like the rest of us.
Just
He's just like us.
he sure, yeah, he's exactly like us. What are you talking about? I wrote a couple excerpts from what he said because just
We love our mans.
we love our mans. We have a love-hate thing going on. It's like a will they, won't they? Spoiler alert, they won't because he's Gonzo Burrito.
R.I.P. King.
R.I.P. King. I still want to sit on his statue.
It's like, where is this going? I still want to sit on his It's like, whoa.
And with me, you never know. I will say that. That's fair.
But statue, which we found out is outside of Chicago somewhere.
Yeah, it's like right outside of Chicago. We need to see it at some point. Maybe next Shrek Fest. We can make our way.
Yeah.
Okay. So, he said, surrealist dreamscape in the form of a Hollywood film noir, and the less sense it makes, the more we can't stop watching it. This is a movie you surrender yourself to. If you require logic, see something else. This movie works directly on the emotions like music. Individual scenes play well by themselves as they do in dreams, but they don't connect in a way that makes sense. Again, like dreams. The way that you know it's over is that it ends. And then you tell your friend, I saw the weirdest movie last night. Just like you tell them you had the weirdest dream. And I was like, dude,
So
fucking
true.
nailed it.
Mhm.
That is the best way to fucking describe how it felt when the movie ended. You're like, mouth open. And you're just like, okay, it's all right, it's over. And then,
Yeah, like I said, I've only seen this film once, and it was like 12 years ago.
damn,
And I didn't really have anyone to talk to about it at the time.
you watched it by yourself.
And I just like Googled that shit.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I was just like, what's the monster behind Winkies? I gotta know. Well, and I had seen Old Greg by then.
Yeah.
The internet
Oh my God.
sensation. Well, no, Old Greg came out. Yeah, Old Greg I think came out 2000.
Maybe like 3 or 4 or 5.
Yeah, well, so it's after this movie, but in my timeline, of course, I'd seen Old Greg a million times before I saw Mulholland Drive.
Yeah,
And I was like, he just kind of looks like Old Greg.
he does. And you know what? He doesn't seem threatening
No.
at all.
And for anyone who doesn't know what Old Greg is, it was this weird YouTube video that I love, but it's very strange.
It reminds me of Stacy so much because she used to watch it all the fucking
I'm
time.
Old Greg. Yeah, it's
I
amazing.
don't remember anything about it except for
He
how
paints
it looked.
watercolors of Baileys.
Wait, there's a line about how someone smelled like some, I don't know. You used to bring it up all the time. Oh, elderberries?
I think
Is
that's
that
from
related?
Monty Python, isn't it?
Elderberries?
Yeah, it smells like elderberries and hamsters or
Oh,
something.
no. Wait.
I think that's Monty Python.
Never
But I
mind.
probably quoted that too, like every annoying person who was like, I like comedy, so I'm just gonna quote Monty Python all day.
I don't know why. Well, now my whole memory of Old Greg is totally fucked.
You know what you
Because
gotta
I was
do.
like, yes, him and elderberries go together
Yeah, I don't
like
think so.
cheese and crackers.
But it's
No.
been a long time since I've revisited Old Greg.
We should watch it after we record because I want to see it again too. But yeah, the movie. In short, I liked it.
Like, I liked it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more. But
Yeah, we're gonna have a special guest who is a film lover. I imagine he's gonna have a lot of thoughts about this movie and David Lynch.
I know he will. I know he will. I told him that I was gonna watch it. I was really excited, and I was like, I'm kind of nervous because like I've heard so many things, and I just imagine I'm gonna be confused the whole time. And he kind of said something similar to Ebert, and I'm excited for you guys to hear what he has to say. I'm not gonna spoil anything.
We also don't know what he's gonna say.
Totally. The only thing he told me was like, you know, just go in and basically don't judge it. Just like experience it. And I was like, yep, that's a good way of putting it.
Good way for most films.
Yeah. So I was like, you right. And I did that, and I was pleasantly surprised. Still confused, but like it wasn't as like cray as I thought it was going to be. But anyway, we'll get into it. Yeah, we're very excited.
Yeah, KRIS KRAINOCK will be joining us in very shortly.
Yep.
And for those who aren't familiar with his work, he is a director, he is a writer, he is an actor, he loves all things film. He's been working on a project called L'Imposteur. He just got off the heels of his grand world tour for his movie Bizzaro y Fantastico, which you should watch immediately.
And he won like every award for
Yeah,
short films, like all over the
a
world.
million awards. It's very good.
It's incredible. We actually got to see it in theaters like a few months ago.
Cool.
November, I think.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was so cool to see, like, you know, because the first time we watched it, I think it was during the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we all just like watched it on our phones or on our laptops or whatever. But to see it on screen was like such a cool experience. Especially because Stacy and I took a literal film class. We've talked about him before.
Yeah, we've talked about him before.
Yeah.
He taught us everything we know about film.
Indeed.
We took his, what was it, like 6-week course?
Yeah, I think so.
And I learned a shit ton. That's why I always know what a Dutch angle is, thanks to KRIS KRAINOCK. And color grading. And now I know all these terms, and I feel very fancy. And that's all thanks to him. And he let us take it for free, which was so nice.
It was so nice, so generous, so cool. We learned a lot. And just to be immersed in a classroom with other people that love it so much was really cool. And
he's a great teacher. I don't know if he'll be in a position where he can even offer film classes anymore because he's like so busy, but if you do get a chance, don't pass it up.
Yeah, really run, do not walk. But we're so excited to have him on, and we know that you guys will learn so much, just like I'm excited to learn from. I'm sure he'll teach us so much today. So without further ado, here he is,
KRIS KRAINOCK. All right, we are here with the one, the only, the KRIS KRAINOCK.
The KRIS KRAINOCK, everybody.
Hello.
And we already started talking about Mulholland Drive, and I was like, hold on, we got to get this on the mic.
Yeah, we were downstairs in the vagina room.
That's my pink
It's
living
infamous.
room.
It's gorgeous.
I knew I felt comfortable in there. I was like, I've been in one of these before.
It is warm. It is cozy.
It really is. The fireplace. There's 2 fireplaces in this bitch.
Yeah, this is
Like,
quite a place.
This is the place to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, I decided to just go straight off vibes. I don't have any notes, so I don't know if you have notes.
Notes?
I know you do.
I don't. I have them. You know, this is a film I've seen many times over the years, and it's a favorite of mine. I hadn't seen it in a while, so I watched some stuff from it, but it's a vivid movie for me. So
yeah, we like to talk about our relationships to the movies. So Shea had never seen it. I had only seen it once, but was obsessed with it and was like, it's so much. I'm not sure I want to watch it again, but I love it. But sounds like you've seen this film many, many times.
Yeah. So yeah, this is David Lynch is a key figure in my life as a filmmaker. Starting early with Eraserhead was like, one of the, it was like seeing 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's comparable to that type of impact it had on me when you see it. And not to go off too much on a tangent already, but it was funny because today with streaming, it's great that so many movies are available. But when I saw Eraserhead, I was like 14, I think 13 or 14.
Sheesh, that's early to see that movie.
Well, I was already a movie freak, movie nut, and so I was already getting through the basic. I couldn't go to Blockbuster anymore, or Best Buy anymore. They didn't
Hollywood
have the
Video.
selections that I could satiate me anymore. So I had to go getting deeper and deeper in the weird. And at that time, Eraserhead wasn't even available on DVD. You had to like hunt for this really rare one. So it's David Lynch is wrapped up in a lot of those fun memories for me of hunting for weird, obscure movies and being the only kid in 9th grade that knew about Eraserhead and showing it to my friends and blowing their minds, that kind of thing. So I found Mulholland Drive pretty organically, just becoming obsessed with Lynch. And besides Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive is probably the most definitive David Lynch film.
So who is your video plug? Because I know some people, they befriend the video rental people and then they'll order them movies but what were your channels in this nascent days of the internet?
So yeah, this was, things like Zia Records, that's the local place. They have them in Arizona and then in Vegas. And yeah, I would just hook up with people there and get them to order stuff in and find weird, obscure things. Or it was in the early days of the internet. The internet was around, so I was ordering off there too. But it was hard to find. Things were really tough. They're obscure sites and obscure companies that were printing and releasing and distributing the movies.
That makes... Okay, have I ever told you my first memory of you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, this is a perfect time to tell you. That fits so well into my first memory of you because I was in English class sophomore year, and we're all just like, we're writing at our desk, blah, 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 and then you walk in, and it's this, like, dude that's basically in, like, a suit
I look
and like a
56
full
years
beard.
old. Yeah.
And like looking like hella debonair, and I'm like, whose like young dad is this? Like, and you just like walk in, you're like, oh hey, what's up? And I was like, who is this like 23-year-old guy that's just like waltzing into this class? And
Are you a substitute?
yeah, and he's just like leaning on the desk and he's talking to the teacher, and they're like old like college buds, and I'm just like, who the fuck is this? You walk out, and then she's like, oh, I love him. He's a blah blah blah, blah. And he's a student, and it just your energy just matches the energy that I'm feeling from you saying, oh yeah, I would just like go to Zia and I'd like get them to order me movies and I'd blah blah blah, blah. Like it just perfectly fits.
That's me in a nutshell. I should have been in class when I was walking into other people's classes and talking to the teacher.
Yeah.
Just in the teacher's lounge.
Yeah.
Making an espresso.
I would leave class and go hang out with the librarian. And
No,
just-
you didn't.
Yes, I would.
That fits
we would
your
talk.
soul.
Because that guy, if we're...
I thought it was a lady.
No, there was a
Like,
guy.
no, there's another secret librarian in the
Yeah,
back
yeah.
that
Don't
only
be
select few people are
Exactly.
cool with.
No, maybe there was, but he was a really, I forget his name, but he was like a really gruff guy, and so he was very judgmental and weird, and like, those people that are so smart they're weird. They have like no personal skills, no interrelational skills.
Yeah.
It was like that, and so I'd be able, because I was really into books and literature as well, besides film. And because my main focus in my early life was being a writer, so it kind of was all encompassing. Anyway, so I could talk with him, and he was really nice to me because I could talk about, like Dostoevsky, and we talk mad shit about Jack Kerouac.
Who
He
doesn't?
sucks.
He's
Fuck
like, he's
him.
his mama's boy, and I was like, yeah, he is.
You're like, he sucks.
I mean, you should read On the Road, but that's about it.
I haven't, so.
I did, and I was like, I get why this was like really cool at the time.
Yeah.
Now in a post-internet age, I'm like,
If you're gonna read anyone from the Beats, it's gonna be William S. Burroughs. That's all you need.
That's what I always say.
That's it.
Cheers.
He's the only one worth it.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
William
but
S.
I
Burroughs
love
is
this.
great. He real quick, super small tangent. He was one of the first openly bisexual or even homosexual writers of the 1950s, late 1940s. Wrote a book called
damn.
Queer. In the early 50s, wrote a book called Junkie, which was his debut novel, was about his heroin addiction. So a really interesting guy, and a guy that kind of was a beat, but kind of transcended that, that moniker. And we think Jack Kerouac's kind of stuck in the 50s. He's kind of the prototypical guy. But William S. Burroughs wrote for many, many years into the 90s, and was really great and kind of bigger than that.
That's sick.
Kind of like Lynch. Lynch is bigger than his film motif. He's not just in his time. He's beyond that.
I also read today that I didn't know this about him. He was a painter. Like, he started as a painter, which I thought was really fucking cool. And most artists I know are like that. They're just like, oh, I started off with this, decided to diddle a little with that, went over here.
Yeah. Well, film is such a young art, and really is. It's only about 120 years old.
Yeah.
So, when he was getting started in the late 60s, 70s, it was only about a half a century old. And so, yeah, a lot of artists start in other things and then discover this. And it's an expensive job. It's expensive to do, especially then with, film developing. So it wasn't easy to get into film. It's not easy now, and it's easier than it's ever been now.
Yeah.
So imagine back then, it was extremely difficult. So yeah, people would usually come to it from other arts and then find, in it what it could do, its capability, its potential.
Yeah.
well, I do think it's interesting that he gets so into the sound of it too. Did you see anything about him having like a music background, or
No.
maybe he
He's
just
a
found
musician.
that along the way? Oh, he is a musician.
Yeah, he does
Okay.
come out with music that you can listen to.
Oh, okay,
now.
what's his instruments of choice? Synths.
There's a lot of there's a lot of like
Yeah,
noise.
sorry, that looks like his mic's slipping down. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's pretty tight. Microphone talk. Welcome to microphone talk. All right, anyways,
We're
here's-
talking about microphones. I
Real
promise. But yeah, so he is a noise guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, very meditative.
ambient shit.
Yeah, I mean stuff he has in his films. It's really ambient, and I think I was just talking about it that he's so his command of film is really in the atmosphere of the movies. His atmospheres are so intense,
Yeah.
and he can kind of conjure those things up, and he's really great at that.
Well, I think that's the beauty of any art medium, if it can truly take you to another place or like a certain mind frame. And it's not even so much about the content of it; it's the feeling. And I think he's excellent at that.
That's
Oh
what
yeah,
you said to me. You were like, it's about how you feel. It's like, what did you say? I can't remember. You texted me something.
Oh, just talking about you watching the movie recently.
Yeah.
I think I said it's like a dream,
Right.
in that you don't have to understand dreams to feel them.
That's what. Yeah.
You know, when you wake up sometimes from a really intense dream and it kind of like hangs over you, you know, but you were thinking about like, you know, you were wearing bananas for shoes. Like, it doesn't make any sense that you're not connecting A to B to C, but it still had some type of emotional impact on you, something cerebral and emotional, and that's what film is. There's whole theories of, you know, film as dream, that film ultimately is like a waking dream. I think someone like Lynch exemplifies that theory.
So true.
And we talked about that, how your brain doesn't really even know what's real and what's not, and that's why we can, like, we talked about how you can think about a taste, and like you can almost get there.
Yeah.
Like, you think about a sound, and it's like you hear it in your mind, but you're not actually hearing it. And it's like dreams are perfectly like that. Like, you are experiencing something, but you're not actually doing it. But your brain doesn't quite exactly know the difference.
Yeah, it's like an impression of the actual thing, you know.
And speaking of dreams, I think it's no mistake that this movie starts off, one of the earliest scenes is the eyebrows, as I like to call him, in Winky's diner talking about his scary-ass dream.
Yeah, which is the best. I mean, that's a film within a film.
Yeah,
the
he's
whole
so
Winky's dream is a movie within a movie, and you can study that on its own, separate of the movie itself.
Right,
And,
it's very, like, encapsulated. Like, you could just loop it out.
And that's how I felt about, like, every different scene of the movie. I was like, this is a film. This is a short film. Yeah. That's a short film. So I think I went in understanding that, like, maybe after, like, the third scene that wasn't connected with the other two, I was like, okay, I'm just going to see each new scene as, like, a new moment, and that's how I make sense of it in my brain. And it wasn't, and that's when I hit you up when I was like, it's not as confusing. And then later on, it became way more confusing.
Yeah, first you're like, this is, I don't know what the big deal is.
Yeah, I was like,
I
these
didn't
are famous
respond
last
because
words.
I was like, we'll just see about that.
Yeah, I said these are famous last words, and all he did was laugh react. And I was like, oh no. I was like, I gotta go. I have to watch the rest of this shit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And we are a spoiler podcast. So if you haven't seen the movie, the idea is that for the first hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours of the 2.5 hour movie, you think you're watching this mystery story about this woman who has amnesia, and she doesn't know who she is, and she's trying to figure out who she is. And so you're like, okay, that's what this movie is about. And then there's a big old twist.
And that's putting it mildly. I mean, I think the movie's kind of impenetrable. I mean, it's like incapable of being spoiled, because it is. I mean, there's theories that make sense, and I kind of have my theory and things like that I can kind of put some bookends around, but really it's not even about understanding it or solving it. And I think that's the difference between like a mystery film and the films that Lynch makes, is that they are mysteries, and it's because you have a lack of information, right? You're searching for certain things, but if you resolve it in a conventional way, that doesn't add up to what the experience of the movie was. You know, if you crack it, it's not like a Hitchcock film where you figure, okay, this person did this or that person did that, and then on a narrative level, you can go, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
That even if you could solve Mulholland Drive, it's not really what it's about.
Yeah, and I remember the first time I watched it, a scene that stuck out in my memory so much that I still think about all the time is when they're in the Silencio Club.
Oh, yeah.
And the woman is singing. And they tell you at the beginning. This is all tape recorded. But she is so amazing and compelling that you literally forget. And you're watching her sing, and the women are having such strong reaction, and then she just falls to the ground as the voice continues. And it's like, you knew that it was just a tape recording. And even after telling you that, you still buy it.
Yep.
And
They were
it's
like
still
both
so powerful.
crying.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful. Yeah.
It's amazing.
That was such an odd part of the movie.
And that was my favorite scene the first time I watched it. I'm trying to think of what stood out to me this viewing, and I think it might be Winky, the Winky monster.
I'm telling you.
I was expecting him to be wasted. Like, he really wasn't, like, malicious. You know? It didn't feel that way to me. Maybe I'm wrong.
You mean like the garbage goblin? Or,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What's great is that what's brilliant about that, and there's like, I don't want to get too film nerdy because we could spend.
No,
the
please
whole,
get film.
We can get
This
the
is
whole
what this is all
talk the whole
about.
podcast just about the Winky scene.
Yeah.
There's not enough time, guys.
That's what I mean. The Winky scene, for whatever reason, I think the first time I watched it, it happened at the beginning so much that I like kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
But I think watching it the second time and knowing what was coming, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, I like it, but like, ugh.
Wait, is he Winky?
I just call him Winky because
No, Winky's
he's
the
that Wink.
diner.
No,
yeah,
but
I just refer to him as Winky
but
because
he-
he's at Winky's.
yeah, like he lives
Winky
at
Man.
Winky, so maybe they based
Maybe
the name
that's
off
Winky.
of him.
I
It's
kinda
supposed
think
to
of
be
him as
Denny's.
the mascot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
written in the script. It's written as Denny's, but there was a problem with like copyright and stuff, and the name usage.
Oh, so who's
Denny's is
Denny?
probably like, please don't put a garbage monster. behind
Exactly.
our
They're like,
diner."
we have enough trouble getting repeat business as it is. Anyway,
Well.
but I think the brilliance of that is that he explains to you everything that you're about to see. You know, there's only the suspense of what's behind there, and he's already described it. You know, there's something back there,
Right.
and it's still really shocking.
It is.
Yeah, and that's where I think it gets interesting as a filmmaker, which is, yeah, and then kind of going back to Hitchcock, which I think Lynch in a lot of ways owes a lot to Hitchcock, especially in the Mulholland Drive world, but just in general, as basically every filmmaker does, owes a lot to Hitchcock. But it's about who knows what when, and this is a thing that I put into my own filmmaking when I'm writing a story. I think to myself, who knows what and when. Do I know everything? Am I omniscient in this world, or are there things that I'm even not answering so that I'm not leading an audience one way or the other? And then when does the audience know something, and when do the characters know something? And this is an oversimplification, but it's like they should never match up. The audience should never know what the characters know, and the characters should never know what the audience knows, and no one should know what I know. And again, that's not always the case. That's a simplification. Right. But as a general rule, those are the types of things I like to think about. Who knows what when? And so when you look at Lynch films, it's like, you know all the information that you need to know. And in the Winky scene, he explains it, and yet it's still haunting. You know it's coming, and then but you still have that question of like, well, is it going to come? Could you even put a face on something he's just spent 5 minutes describing? And that's where he gets like, that's the juicy stuff when you go back and watch it 5 times and study it. Those are the kind of questions you ask.
Well, it's such an interesting inversion because so often people are told like, show, don't tell, show, don't tell. And in this movie, he tells you and then he shows you. And it's just an interesting flip of it.
And
Well,
it's
the
still
cam-
just as jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the camera's doing so much work. I mean, if you guys notice, the camera's floating. That's the first thing.
I did not notice that.
So yeah, the camera is on like a steady cam, which is a weighted system where the cameras can move independently with the operator. And it's kind of hovering. And it's a standard 2-person shot where they're sitting across the table from each other. And there's things called screen direction, which is like, where are they looking? What side of the frame are they on? And this helps orient the viewer. Right? They kind of know, okay, this person's on frame left, and so they're looking at the other person who's on frame right, that kind of thing. We get a sense of where they are in the space. But if you look at it, the guy on the right side is hugging the left side of the frame. So he's leaving all this empty space on the right side, which is against the normal grammar. And it's just to unsettle us.
Yeah, and because you can see the door in the background.
Right,
so
he's
your subconscious
describing
is
back.
like, somebody
There's
gonna
someone-
go through that door.
That's what I was thinking the whole time. I'm like, someone's just going to run right through.
Right.
And it didn't happen.
And then he tells the guy, you're back there in my dream. And then he goes back there to pay. And so you start asking, oh, is this the dream? You know, he's describing the dream. Is it the dream within the dream? And all those things. And then it's all the added extra weirdness that it's like a self-contained scene. Although it really ultimately isn't, because eventually a key sequence takes place in Winky's with Naomi Watts.
And the same server.
Yeah. So there's connective tissue, kind of like things in the unconscious mind popping up in the waking mind.
I was going to say another shout out to the forehead of the brow guy that you're talking about.
Yeah, eyebrows.
He had the craziest forehead vein
He
I've
did. He
ever
was
seen.
stressed.
Unpaid actor.
Good performance, right?
I was like, is that
Unpaid
like
actor.
how people can cry on command?
Yeah.
He's like, I can vein on command.
Eyebrow featuring vein.
I was like, holy shit, this guy, like, for some reason, that's what impressed me the most about it. These are the things that I'm
It's a
thinking
good performance, really. And
Yes.
you're right, yeah.
And the other guy was like, is this a detective or a therapist? Like, it's an unknown relationship with that guy, so that's kind of unsettling, too. Where you're like, who is he telling this to?
That's
And
true.
why?
For some reason, I assumed that he was an investigator, but it's never said.
He's
Right?
dressed up like an old 50s detective.
Maybe
which
that's
is probably
why I
we
was
think
like-
that, but.
Well, I love like Lynch's use of like kind of cheesy stock Americana characters. Like the detectives in Mulholland Drive just like spew the most boring detective like, you know,
Jargon.
someone's missing up there. Like just like really basic stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
did you guys ever see What Did Jack Do?
No.
So it's a short film David Lynch made on Netflix, and it's just David Lynch playing a man in like a weird diner out like at a train station.
He loves diners.
Loves
He does.
diners, and he's talking to a monkey, He's talking to his little monkey. And the monkey has a human voice. And he just interrogates him, but with the most cliched 1950s, like, non sequiturs. Just, like, random lines that would be found in, like, some bad 1950s detective movie. But he's saying it to a talking monkey.
And that reminds me of the scene where Naomi Watts does her her rendition at the audition, and she totally changes it so it's like, ooh, is that sexy?
That was fucking cool.
Incredible.
I was like, I was really not moved, but I was so impressed because she really just, you know, because the guy that she was acting with, he said, acting is reacting, and that's exactly what she did. She was reacting to how sensual he was being, and so she's like, oh, okay. And I thought that was really sick.
She just acts her ass off this whole movie.
Yeah.
Every scene, like, she's fucking killing it.
She should have got an Oscar nomination.
She really should have. I was like, she plays like 4 different characters in one movie.
Essentially,
and she nails it every time.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
There was a moment, like, towards the end. It was, like, the last half an hour, last 20 minutes where she's, like, things are just going haywire.
Yeah.
And she's, like, shaking, and she's, like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, she's, like, unhinged.
I was like...
You mean before the boom boom?
It's, like, a little bit before that. It's when...
Yeah.
It's before you realize what she's done.
Okay.
But she's standing at the sink and she hallucinates Rita / Camilla, and then she's like, oh, and then she's it's so good.
Like, it blew my mind. I was like, this is fucking brilliant. And I don't know if I've seen her in anything.
Naomi Watts is great. She's in a lot of stuff. She's in King Kong. She was good in The Impossible. Though that's not a great film, but she's really good in it.
I Heart Huckabee. She also plays an actor.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
Well, there's a lot of layers in, like, a lot of art imitating life type stuff with Mulholland Drive because it was supposed to be a TV show. It was originally going to be a spin-off of Twin Peaks.
Oh.
And he shot a whole thing for ABC, which is so weird. These very conventional stations that, you know, are hiring David Lynch. It's really weird. And so the pilot was almost completed, and they went to an executive at ABC, and they nixed it. They thought, I don't want like this, and they killed it. And then a French company stepped in called Studio Canal and gave them $2 million extra to film an additional 20 minutes to make it a feature. So Lynch got that going from France, rewrote it so that it would function as a feature film, and then re-edited it, of course, into its final form. But so he was having trouble with executives in Hollywood, and you know he was on the outs with Hollywood because it's such an indictment of Hollywood.
Oh yeah. I kept thinking, tell us how you really feel about Hollywood,
Honestly.
David.
And
like,
it's a shithole.
Clearly, you fucking hate it.
It was fucking awesome.
It's
I
a
was
really
like,
a terrible
not a lot
place.
of movies highlight this.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a terrible
it was
place.
pretty cool.
And then Naomi Watts was undiscovered. She basically, this film launched her career. She had been auditioning for like over 10 years and getting nowhere, and was having a horrible experience. Almost went back to Australia, and then David Lynch actually met her in person, which is super rare for in Hollywood for directors to meet with actresses and actors. Anyway, so yeah, and she even almost got evicted from her apartment after the film had wrapped, and she was going to leave Hollywood, having the film completed, and who's her friend, another Australian, Nicole Kidman, said, no, stay until the movie's finished. It comes out, it was released, and then she did and started her career.
But did not get an Oscar nom.
No, she won an AFI award. She won a couple awards.
That's good.
But no Oscar.
She deserved it.
I mean, Oscars are a microcosm of the problems in Hollywood. There's a lot of campaigning and...
You have to have, like, a budget to even try, right?
Correct, yeah.
Ugh,
it's not quite bribery. They found a weird way to snake around it being pure bribes, but it's not. It's close. Yeah, a lot of campaigning, a gauntlet, all kinds of press junkets and stuff. So if the movie doesn't have the money to do that, that's why these little movies are excellent, but they never get nominated because they don't have the money to really even support themselves in that campaign.
Yeah, I was surprised that the budget was only $15 million.
Yeah.
Very small. Because it was originally for TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to say, it's interesting that you said it was like a spinoff of Twin Peaks, because I haven't watched the entirety of Twin Peaks, but I've seen like different scenes here and there from other people watching it, and it felt familiar. I was like, this is very Twin Peaks-esque, and I feel like, I don't know, Lynch has a sauce. He has like a flavor.
Well, and like Chris was saying, everyone kind of like is indebted to him in some way. So I feel like his style has kind of like leached its way into a lot of our pop culture.
Lynched its way.
Lynched its way.
Yeah, it's definitely permeated the film culture. You know what I mean? Like if it's weird, it's Lynchian. Lynchians become a word, the way that Hitchcockian has, or Fellini-esque has, or Kubrickian, or whatever. So Lynchians become kind of a name of a vibe. But yeah, I mean, all Lynch films have this kind of atmosphere about them, and to varying degrees of success. You know, for a long time, I thought Lynch was a one-hit wonder. I thought Lynch had, Eraserhead was like it. He debuted fantastically in the super weird art realm. You know, Eraserhead's like the Citizen Kane of debut films. Like, it's a really, really incredible movie. And then over time, because I felt like he was getting schlocky. I thought he was repetitive. I thought he was kind of going. I saw Wild at Heart, and it was fun and crazy, but not good. It was not a good movie. And I had all kinds of trouble with Lost Highway. I love Blue Velvet. You know, that's a good film. But then, over time, you start really seeing what his methodology is, and you start understanding more. And then I eased up as a viewer, and I appreciated that he was taking risks, and they weren't always paying off. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't a genius. And when you start kind of seeing the diamonds in the crown, you start seeing Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, Elephant Man, Blue Velvet. You're like, no, this guy, and Twin Peaks. That was also a very definitive piece of work for him. You're like, well, okay, I see the arc, and this guy is really, really great. Yeah. And it took me some time to grow into Inland Empire, which I thought was at one point unwatchable.
Is it a show or a movie?
It's a movie with Laura Dern, and it's brutally tough to watch. I used to hate it. And now I like it.
What about Dune?
Dune's not. What about Dune? Well, you could ask David. It's not a good film, and it was stolen away from him. It was
and
the
that's
studio.
why I wondered if Mulholland Drive was also in part a reaction to Dune. Like the whole subplot about the shadowy studio all guys forcing this director to choose a certain actress. I was like, I feel like this is echoing something that I suspect happened with Dune in particular because it was such a big budget, so highly anticipated. Yeah, and it just sucked.
It did suck. Yeah, it sucks. And I mean, the thing is, Dune's a great story, and
I disagree with you on that. I can go on another tangent. I hate it.
Okay, you don't like this book, so you don't like anything.
I read it, and I was like, bleh.
I've only read the first one.
Me too.
And I didn't like it enough to read, all the others and stuff. So I guess that's saying one thing. I guess as a premise, I like it. I like the idea of the spice.
Very cool idea.
The concepts are good.
Very cool.
Maybe
concepts.
execution.
Poor execution.
Yeah, not so much. But the concept's cool. And I even love the new Villeneuve film. The new Dune blew my mind. I really liked it.
That was gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I think because I hate the source material so much.
So much.
It's just boring.
I just like Timothée Chalamet quietly standing half naked. But I don't know. I'm easy.
You're not alone.
Right. I'm easy.
Most people. That's one of the only things I remember. I was super high, and I saw it in theaters, which was a mistake. We talked about it earlier. And all I remember is the box and him reacting. And I was like, that's cool. And then flash forward, worm, and then Zendaya just showing up in slow motion for 10 minutes, and then it was over. And I was like,
I love the soundtrack. I was like, this is an extended music video for this soundtrack.
I think you should give it another try. It's really good. And I'm excited for part 2.
Maybe I'll be so.
I hope part 2.
Listen, I think I can't advocate enough a second viewing.
But do you think sometimes movies can be overly reliant on soundtracks?
Oh my God, yeah.
Because that's what I felt about this movie. I was like, you are relying on the music to make me feel anything.
Yeah.
What's another movie you can think of that's like that?
Ooh, good question.
Every major Hollywood movie really
Name
is.
a big one that you're.
Jurassic Park.
Like
I
the
feel like I
original?
Even the first one.
Yeah, I love Jurassic Park.
I haven't
the
seen
first
it.
one is
I still
pretty
have
damn
not
good.
seen it.
The first one?
You've
Or
never seen
Indiana
the original
Jones.
Jurassic Park?
No.
It's still very scary, and the practical effects are awesome.
No, I mean, Jurassic Park's a classic through and through. And that's another conversation for another day about how I feel about Steven Spielberg. But Jurassic Park's a classic. You can't deny it, and it's great. But John Williams is an overly demonstrative composer, and
True.
Spielberg uses them. I mean, he's just an example of someone who uses music very conventionally. I think I don't like when music manipulates me. I think how I use music personally is usually in the form of a juxtaposition to where I'm trying to add a new layer that isn't already there in other things.
Interesting.
I read an important book called Making Movies by a great American director named Sidney Lumet. And he's passed away now, but he was really, really great and made films all the way up into the early 2000s. His last movie was Before the Devil Knows You're Dead with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Ethan Hawke in 2007. It's a really great movie. Anyway, so
It's in our time period.
yeah, you should do it Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. It's fire.
I'm going to put it on our little list.
Yeah, and it's really, really great. It's a great finale, great swan song for Lumet, and just a great film. He made Dog Day Afternoon. He did Serpico. He did Network. I mean, classic after classic. Great guy. Anyway, he wrote a book, And it's one of the most practical books about making films. It's like, it's not a lot of psychological or philosophical stuff. It's like, this is what you do, and you go show up, and you do this, and you could do that, and it's very, very practical. So anyway, it's informative. And one of the things he said is that every element of a film should be doing something different. It's not reinforcing something that another element's already doing. So if an actor is acting emotionally, you shouldn't underscore that. You know, that's the thing, is people underscore things. What a score shouldn't do is underscore stuff that's already there. In the mise en scene and how the camera is behaving, how the actors are doing, or how the actors are performing, how the script is written, what the context of the story is. Like, it should be always doing something different. So I've kept that in mind.
I've never thought about that.
See, and I felt like Dune, it was just like Venn diagram has met in the middle. Like this music is telling me everything I'm supposed to be feeling in conjunction with the visual. Is how I felt. I
understand that, but I mean, were you going to say something? I'm going to cut you off.
No, I was just listening.
Yeah, I mean, my only response to that is the film is really about its spectacle. And so using using music in a way to accompany the visuals and try to put the spectacle on display is something that worked for me.
Yeah, like I said, I do think of it as kind of an extended music video, which I think you could like. But I was like, this is a very long one. And I also, I love Blade Runner 2049.
Me too. Yeah.
And I felt like it was like a copy paste with formatting of that structure, but applied to Dune, which I hate. So I think that's kind of why I was like, I get it. But I fucking hate this book.
Wrap it up.
Let's move on. And this is only half the story?
Well,
we're only at halfway?
Well, Villeneuve his dream project was Dune, and he used 2049 as a way to prove that he could do it. He's kind of made his bones with it. So in a way, they're almost like spiritual, sequels, spiritual projects.
Yeah, and I was like, I've seen this before. I liked it.
Yeah, I prefer 2049.
Gosling. Yeah,
and I really
disliked
the original Blade Runner.
Yeah, it's not as good as people say.
It's awful.
Have you seen it?
No.
Yeah. There's seven versions because there's no movie.
A Blade Runner?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, the book is bonkers too. Like the book is very disorienting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's
but
a missed opportunity. We could have used that for Mindfuck. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I think it's before our time period. It's 80s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But aren't there 7 versions? Are all 7 versions in there?
No, and there's 7 cuts.
Oh.
That's what I meant to say. But there's the director's cut and the producer's cut and the final cut and the theatrical cut. There's really I think there's actually 7. I'm not exaggerating for comic effect. I think there's 6 or 7.
That's fucking wild.
We're always a sign that your movie's really successful.
Yeah, exactly. So and they always, all the film school nerds. I mean, and I get it. I understand why it's important and what it did. It's not a good story though. So.
But was music used in the same way for that? Is that what we were saying?
Yeah, it's the same
I
composer,
think I piggyback on criticizing the first Blade Runner because I like to do that publicly whenever possible. And so I was just talking about 2049. I don't think it directly connects to music.
Okay.
But Dune maybe is oversaturated with music. But I see it as a spectacle film. So I think that works for me. For me, it worked.
And there wasn't a whole lot of music in this movie, right? Like, it was really just, ambiance. Like, you were saying, synth. Just,
right. Like, kind of in the background, affecting you without you even noticing.
Except for the swing music at the very beginning that doesn't get repeated, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a story. It's a clue.
Yeah. Because she does comment later that the reason she wanted to go to Hollywood is because she, won a doo-wop competition.
Right. That's how she got her first
Or she said
taste
jitterbug.
Jitterbug or some shit.
First taste of success, of fame.
Right. And then there was a doo-wop scene, like the audition. Not her audition, but, the other one, which I loved. I love doo-wop. But, yeah. Interesting.
I mean, I think what's, for me, what really is fascinating and what makes Mulholland Drive great is that it has the courage to basically put us in a dream. So we only have... There's arguments that are made that there's no waking life sequences at all. Some people think there's bookends, that there's the real world and then it kind of segues into a dream sequence that extended for 90 minutes or almost 2 hours, and then there's a wrap up that's back in reality. But there's arguments that all of it's either in dream or in flashback, which the flashback, when you do things in flashback, the question becomes whose perspective are we seeing it from?
Right. And
is it reliable? So you have a subjective flashback, which means that it's not necessarily true or objective. It's not objective by definition, not objective. So, is there anything really reliable in it? And that's where you get the duplicate girls, you get the doppelgangers. That there's the parallel dream versions of these people that are kind of mixed between giving us clues about what's happening in the real world or what has happened to kind of elicit the guilt. We're kind of in like I view it as we're in a guilt dream. That Naomi Watts is so guilt stricken from basically trying to kill her ex-lover and her friend and her acting partner,
or perhaps successfully killed her.
Or yes. Well, I think that there's more duality there. I think that there's because she, if I'm remembering correctly, there's a suicide attempt that doesn't go well, which causes her amnesia, which could be, but then the way that they mess with the nonlinear timeline, you think it's the hit, that it gets disrupted by the car crash. So there's actually things that are happening on top of one another because of it's the dream, but it's also nonlinear.
Right.
So you're getting things that are out of time, out of sequence, put all around.
Right.
And that's just really a cool, I mean, it's not that it's necessarily revolutionary, but I think to that extent, and how well it's done, how successfully it's done, and how evocative those sequences are that are kind of self-contained. They feel like dreams.
And I think we'd be remiss in not asking you, for our listeners, to tell what you think your if you have one, unified.
I wanted to ask, but
kind of that. I think that she kills her friend, she has a hit put out on her friend that is successful because you get the blue key.
Yeah, I'm like, where did this bitch get this money, though?
I know.
Right.
Where did the money come from?
That's why I was like, is this real? Because I don't think this... Because you get the sense that she's a drug addict.
Yeah, you actually... You hear at one point someone smoking cocaine. An unusual method for cocaine, but you can smoke it, I guess.
And isn't that, like, the hit man guy? Isn't he talking to someone kind of close to the beginning who he's saying, like, keep an eye out for a brunette, blah, 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 blah. And it kind of looks like... Naomi at the end. So maybe she's like a sex worker or something.
Yeah, it's unclear.
Yeah.
But just all that to say, not somebody you'd think would have the kind of money it would take to kill a famous actress.
True that.
Yeah, but we also have like this mysterious aunt who we don't know.
True.
Aunt Ruth. Where's she at?
Yeah, and her beautiful apartment. It really is cool.
Yeah, right in Hollywood like that. So maybe Ruth has some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe she robbed Ruth. Maybe she killed Ruth.
Because Ruth never shows up, if I remember correctly.
Where's Ruth? Maybe she did.
She's apparently like in Vancouver or something, making a movie or being part of a movie. But
yeah,
convenient thing to say when you want to kill your aunt.
I'd imagine so. Whenever I kill people, I put it
whenever
in
I think about killing my aunt.
Listen, aunts, you're not in danger. I'm just saying. Theoretically,
you're gonna take a trip to Vancouver anytime soon.
Speak for yourself. Cheers. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, I think in a really reductive way, it's a guilt fever dream.
I can see that.
There's a kind of a line that connects a lot of Lynch films, from Eraserhead to Lost Highway to Mulholland Drive. It's about characters that are escaping the real world into some type of fantasy or dream or nightmare world, some inverse world, to escape some type of guilt. One of my theories on Eraserhead is the guilt of a man who forces his girlfriend to have an abortion, and there's this kind of mutant baby that haunts him throughout the film. For Lost Highway, there's a guy who kind of escapes from the guilt of killing his wife, and in this, I think it's the guilt of putting a hit out on her lover, a successful hit. Which I think I do agree with you that it's successful because of the blue key. We get the key at the end, which we know that's the signal.
The hitman says, "I'll give you this key in the designated spot when it's done."
Right,
and she sees the key, and she's like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah. So that's kind of I think that's an interesting theme that he's revisited throughout his work. Lynch is that we do things in our waking lives that our unconscious can't accept. That there's something that some line we cross in our humanity with doing certain things that we can't. It's kind of like a PTSD an idea that even though soldiers are sanctioned and have the support of their governments and have been fed propaganda and this is right and you could do this and it's not you, if it's not you, if it's not them, it's you, and then that's going down to the most primal version, which is like, if you don't kill, you will be killed, and people still chew the teeth out of their head, and they still can't have sleepless nights for the rest of their lives. So even in the most practical way, we can cross lines that I don't think we can handle. The destruction of other humans as an example. And so I think that that's an interesting theme that Lynch explores, and then in his own kind of twisted, weird, mysterious way shows the mysterious dream worlds that we would vacation to in the face of these type of horrors.
Yeah, it's almost like a need for equilibrium, like socialists like to say. The contradictions have to resolve themselves and stuff, and it's like, I think maybe that's a way to think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like David Lynch is thinking some kind of balancing.
Which he's very much into transcendental meditation. That's his thing.
So is my dad.
Oh, is that where it started from? Because there aren't a lot of Hollywood people into TM.
I don't. They are. It's a
Yeah,
thing.
a lot of
It's
comedians.
better than Scientology. You know,
Hear, hear.
sit around and be quiet, as opposed to
Be Tom Cruise.
Kidnap
be
people
killing,
and make 'em
kidnap
work.
them, and exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm all for TM. That's fine with me. But yeah, I don't know if it started with that, but he's a huge proponent of it. He's like a major guy. Anyway, so I think he has a lot to do with the balance of things. That would make sense.
Now let's talk about the sapphic elements of the
Ooh,
movie.
yeah.
Well, we don't have to go into it, but I
Hell
thought it was
yeah.
very
Let's
cool, and
dive
I
in.
was not expecting. Well, let me say this: at the very beginning, I was like, "Oh, they're gonna fuck for sure," but then I was like, "Maybe that's just me because I'm queer," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, these beautiful women are going to absolutely fuck," and then they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "This is fucking cool," and it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Like, you can see they have, like, such a strong bond, like, immediately.
Yeah.
And if the first part is understood as its own little story, they really only know each other for a couple days.
Yeah.
But it's like, she's in love.
I was gonna say, and then they, hook up for the first time, and she's like, "I'm in love with you," and I was like,
Well, I mean, not to throw a monkey wrench in this, but
"Oh,
there is the Naomi Watts masturbation scene,
right."
and there's other theories that there aren't even two women, that
But they're
there's
the
only
same?
one woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when you think about the masturbation scene, the concept of showing self-gratification, by her doing that with herself, that might be a clue that the lesbian relationship is a fantasy, or it's making love with oneself in a more literal way, showing it with two people, but really it's representative of a masturbatory act.
I do think there's a way to view the movie as Naomi Watts never meets her, and she's just infatuated with her on-screen portrayal.
With the star.
Yeah, and it's
Right.
just like, I'm in love with her. We had this relationship, and it's like, no, babes.
Right, like even the scene where they're at the dinner party or whatever, and Justin Theroux, whatever his name is,
Right.
and what's her name?
Rita/Camilla.
Yeah, Rita.
Oh, Rita? Yeah.
Or Camilla. I think in this.
Camilla?
Yeah,
In this
I think
version?
Camilla's her. Yeah, they're obviously together, and they're making it very clear to everyone that they're together. And Naomi Watts is just sitting in the corner, like crying.
Right. Well, that's the motive to kill her, they think, besides
True.
her success in film.
But also, she could just be having a full fantasy, like, you belong to me. Like,
Right.
you're supposed to be with me. You owe me this. And it's like, that could be a total, made up in her mind fantasy.
Yeah, I did think it was interesting in that scene, too, where Rita/Camilla isn't only just making out with Adam, the director, but then she makes out with the other Camilla Rhodes. Very confusing
Right.
double names.
Right.
But it's just like, and you get like, okay, so is Naomi Watts just viewing her as this, like, kind of like, oh, she'll hook up with anybody,
there's
and that's why
promiscuous.
I'm mad at her, you know?
Well, I think the thing that's more important to say, that's like, to me more interesting than trying to put pull all the strings together in the film, isn't it amazing that a movie like this could be voted best film of the century so far by the BBC and be fairly universally acclaimed, and we don't really have a concrete idea of what it was about or
I think
what
that's why.
happened.
But I think that's why.
You think that's why?
I think you need a little ambiguity.
But may I, from a filmmaking perspective?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you're right, but I think that's only one part of the story. Because what a lot of people fail to do in the especially like in the art film world is they mistake being vague for being mysterious or ominous, or you can't just take a puzzle piece out of the puzzle and expect it to work. I think what Lynch does, which makes him great, is that he makes the films kind of oblique enough and abstract enough and ethereal enough so that you can participate in them and make them your own. They'll live with you if you like them, if you connect with them, if they do their job as an entertainment, then you'll connect with them and you'll make them your own, and you'll revisit them, and you'll come up with conclusions, and you'll even come up with satisfactory conclusions, which may or may not be his intention. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. He goes beyond having to solve the piece. But the extra brilliance of it is that he makes it feel satisfying. He entertains you. He satisfies you. He even makes you feel like there's a sense of completion, which this is where a lot of films fail. They might be weird and mysterious and lack information and make you want to think about it, but if you don't feel satisfied, you'll never go back and pick it up again.
Mm-hmm.
And what always makes me think about this is in a more conventional way, but I think there's also connective tissue, is The Shining. One of my favorite films. I talk about it all the time. It's one of my favorite things.
We talked about The Shining in our intro.
We did.
Oh, there you go. So there's relationship there.
Oh wait, no, that was off mic. JK, the viewers.
Oh,
You're not
I talked about The
crazy.
Shining because I said the house.
My house.
Yeah, Stacy's house. The house.
This house.
This house that we're in currently. I said the house tells people what to do during parties. They don't decide what to do. The house tells them.
Ooh, very
I was like,
It is
overlooked.
a main
The Shining.
character.
Very
We're
overlooked.
living in partnership with the house.
Yeah, sure.
And it's, you know what?
In
To
communion,
be honest,
yeah.
as a super like spiritual person, I came in and I smudged the whole place before they like fully moved in. There was a lot going on, and it was awesome. It was like positive. Like I could just tell that it was like, yes,
There was orgies here, is what you're trying to say.
1000%. That's all I'm trying to
Cigars.
say.
Wait till you see the rest of the house.
Oh,
That's
I
all
can't
we
wait.
can
I
say.
can't
Yeah,
wait
yeah.
until you see one.
I like how you're
particular-
really pissing all the audience off. Oh, I want to see. You can't see. Sorry, you're not
It's
here.
that the puzzle piece is missing, babes.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm saying.
Are we giving this podcast to you enough to make it your own?
Ooh.
That's the question. But anyway, so finish my point briefly.
Yes.
At the end of The Shining, it has that long tracking shot down the hallway, right? And the main events of the plot are over, and it goes to this wall, if you remember, and there's a picture of Jack Nicholson on the wall, and he's in a 1921 New Year's party or something. And that reveal gives the audience the sensation of going, oh, yeah. What?
Yeah, and then you're like, wait a minute.
Because it
so-
actually solves nothing.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
But it makes you feel like.
But it gives you the sensation
Right.
of completion.
Well, and I think this might be an interesting. I am a lawyer, and the term ambiguous has like a specific legal meaning, and it means that when a contract term is susceptible to more than one meaning, and there is no way to accurately resolve which meaning is the correct one. So I think it's different than having a piece of information missing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you are lacking information in the rest of the contract. It's that even given the sum of its parts, you cannot reliably know what this piece means, and it could mean multiple things.
Ooh,
Wow.
nailed it.
That's perfect.
That was.
Yeah, that was
I love when my
Delish.
law degree
That was fabulous.
gives me film shit.
And I think that's Mulholland Drive and films like it, films like The Shining. They're not missing things. They're incomplete. It's just they mean different things to different people.
exactly.
Yep. Well.
And that's the
Yeah.
beauty of Mulholland Drive.
And there's Mindfuck February.
I think
everybody.
we're ready to move on to our personality test. On that
I
note.
That might
so
be a nice summation point. That might be the end right there.
I think
I
so.
think
That
we
was
found it.
fun. You nailed it, babes.
Thank you.
You guys just
Thank
worked
you, Boyd
together.
School of Law.
Is there trivia? Because I think we should give it to
Oh
Chris.
yeah, trivia. Okay.
We should give it to Chris because
We almost skipped trivia, everyone. I'm so excited.
It'll be
okay.
fun.
5 questions.
okay.
You don't want to try?
I'll try.
Okay,
for
some
sure.
are a little harder than the others.
Oh, okay. It's like a quiz.
Yeah,
we
so
always do a quiz.
so when we are watching the films, whoever's turn it is, because we switch off,
Oh,
we'll just
man.
try to think of like 5 questions about the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen this in a while, so
Okay, well, this will be
we'll see.
So number 1, who is Adam supposed to cast in his movie? Full name.
He was supposed to cast. Wait. Oh, like who? What he was told?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it Camille?
Full name.
I have it in my notes. Fuck my asshole. Camille. I don't know.
Do you know
it? I don't.
Camilla Rhodes.
Oh, it's the Rose, the second Camilla.
Yeah, dang it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, number 2. This one's pretty tough. I feel like an asshole for writing this one. What room number is Adam hiding out in? I just thought it was weird. The camera focuses on it for a long time.
I
there's a lot of
should have
number
rewatched
talk.
before I came
There's a lot
here.
of number talk in the film in general.
I
There
will
was, like-
also say not only number, but they show it's such an LA fucking film, obviously, because they show so many street signs that are very famous streets that are it like and spots like Pink's fucking hot dogs
Oh,
and
yeah.
like I was like this is
Lynch
so,
loves L.A.
he lives there
Yeah,
still,
he
right?
lives in the Hollywood Hills.
Well, there you go.
Loves LA,
A little bit
hates
of a love story.
the Hollywood industry.
Period.
You got to break the system from within.
Do you remember the number?
I have no idea. No.
It's 16. Okay.
And there's another 16.
I think
It's
there is. I
16
think there's
Reasons
multiple.
Why I Love You.
Oh.
That's the song the doo-wop song they're singing. It got stuck in my head earlier.
Man,
so.
nailed
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
That's a known. I'm gonna give you that point for trivia.
Yeah.
Because you.
I connected
We don't even
dots
keep track
somewhere
of
Yeah,
in
you
there.
gave a
We
better.
always say we get 100%, even when that's not true.
I know. I'm like, we nailed it, even though like I get everyone wrong.
I don't like I got every single one wrong. Okay, what is the first name Rita remembers?
Oh, it's the server.
Oh yeah, from Winkies, right?
Yes.
I can't.
Fuck.
Damn you.
I know,
Diane.
but you're so smart. What is it?
Diane.
Diane?
Oh, Diane.
Yes. And then it turned into Betty.
Another.
Later on,
Yeah.
Another. Yeah, Diane also linked to Twin Peaks.
Oh.
Really?
Diane's the person that the main guy talks to on his tape recorder.
Oh, interesting.
They never
Okay.
see her or hear her.
All right, question number 4 is, what is unique about Club Silencio? We kind of talked about this a little bit.
That it's all pre-recorded.
Yeah, it's
There's no
pre-recorded.
band.
Yep, it's all I know banda.
Mm-hmm.
Last question. Where does Diane go to hire the hitman? We did also talk about
Winkies.
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 Tinky
That one, I knew
Winkies.
that one.
100%,
I
everybody.
remember everything about Winkies. Nothing else. Winkies
Named-
lives in
fun
my
fact-
head rent free.
Named after the garbage guy in the back.
Yeah,
I went to the
think
place-
He's the
He
mascot.
is Winky.
I went to the place they shot the Winkies scene.
Denny's?
And it's closed. It's closed. I think it's still standing though.
Was it a Denny's?
I don't remember if it was a Denny's. It was like, but it was all defunct. But I remember.
There's also like, in that part of California, it looks like Denny's, but it's a different.
Coco's?
It's not Coco's, although I love Coco's. There's another. I can't remember the name of it now. It's not Winkies either, although that would be very cool.
I don't think. I think Winkies is fictitious completely. There's one called.
No, it's based off a true story.
Based off the dumpster.
He looked at me just
His
like,
birth
"Bitch."
name is Winky
No, it's not. I wouldn't
McWinkerston.
have. That was amazing.
Okay.
All right. So personality quiz.
Personality quiz. You're
Yes.
going to be
Ooh.
our first step. There's
Okay.
12 questions.
All right.
Oh, I'm excited.
Hit me.
Okay. What do you need most at the moment? Damn.
What's the question?
What do you need most at the moment?
hell
This is
yeah,
a very
we're getting
deep
real.
question. And sometimes they're very deep.
Okay.
Romance, a clear mind, a night out, confidence, a glow up, or real friends.
Aw.
A clear mind.
Okay.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Question 2. Pick a pair of earrings. Ooh, this is a visual one, but I'm going to show it to you, and then you can describe the one you like.
Let's see here.
Ooh,
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
we had a phone clatter.
Nice.
I'm gonna go with the very first one, the little leaf with the pearl.
It's a little
Cute.
leaf with the
Cute
pearl.
AF.
Very
Did you
cute.
say cute? Never thought I'd hear you ever utter those words.
Okay, question 3. What would you choose as a first date? Club Silencio, a classy fancy restaurant, an underground film screening, the local gardens, a diner, a dark tunnel.
Dark tunnel. Jesus.
Yeah, don't do that
Whoever,
anymore.
who would ever pick a dark tunnel?
Lots of people, unfortunately.
Yeah, that would.
Jeffrey
yeah, well, let's,
Dahmer.
yeah, let's
Yeah,
check.
there you go.
Yeah, let's tag their computer if they choose that. I'd like to say underground film screening because that's obligatory and that's what I really want. But the truth is I'd actually probably just pick like a Winkies diner. I'd go diner.
Diner.
Diner is such a good first
Love a
date.
diner.
Yeah.
Such a good first date.
Yeah. Underground film is like the second date once I know she's cool.
Yeah, you have to
She's
make sure
down.
she's down.
Yeah.
Right.
Pick some lyrics that resonate. These are long. Some part of me was lost in your sleeve where you hid your cigarettes. I want to ruin our friendship. We should be lovers instead. I probably still adore you with your hands around my neck, or I did last time I checked. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Your mother wouldn't approve of how my mother raised me, but I do. I think I do. And trying to find the one that can fix me. I've been dodging death in the 6-speed. Are these real songs?
I'm
I
gonna
don't
have to
recognize
go
any
with
of
the
these.
Eagles, Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you could never leave. Because
I
it's
don't
such a great line. And although I do, always want to fuck my friends and ruin friendships, because who needs friends? I don't need them.
Wow.
You can fuck people and still be friends.
That's what I
Bold
mean.
statement.
I don't need to pick.
Yeah. It's not one or the
You
other.
did
friends.
say who needs friends.
I mean, yeah, I just feel like
I didn't say that.
I feel like I have them. I don't want new ones.
Oh, okay. No new friends.
No new friends.
Hashtag
no,
Drake.
hashtag no new friends,
Right.
guys.
Well, I have them. I don't want any more.
Heard it here first. Me neither. You know
Yeah,
what?
I'm pretty bad as
We're
it is
pretty
with
full
the
up.
current friends.
We are filled all the way. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm at my ceiling.
Okay, question 5. Pick a cheesy quote that I've saved on Pinterest. We're getting a little
Incredible.
peek into
Here we
the
fucking
narrator
go.
here. Okay, I'm going to make a very beautiful life for myself, no matter what it takes. Sorry, it's very tiny font. Creating space by getting rid of things that no longer serve you invites possibility, opportunity,
not
and
that
more
one.
space
Condo,
for
baby.
love.
I'm a
This
clutter.
is so long. Oh my god, the font is tiny.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you read that?
Yeah.
It is so small.
Wait, but the arrow thingy is in the way.
Yeah, it's all fucked up.
Something often and much to win this something. There's something in front of it that I can't. The intelligent people and the line again of children to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the beauty in others, to leave the world a better whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to know that one life
all
has
the same
breathed
quote.
easier because you lived here. This is to have succeeded.
That's one.
That's one.
Okay.
Holy.
The next, so that's a no. Unless I am myself, I am nobody. Virginia Woolf. The most fucked up joke the universe will play on you is letting you meet the right person at the wrong time. Or your life isn't yours if you care what others think.
What's the Virginia Woolf one?
Unless I am myself, I am nobody.
That one.
Okay. Next. You can do the last half.
Okay.
Let's switch off, yeah.
When you have a goal in mind, what is your first step in pursuing it? 1. Keep it a secret. 2. Doubt yourself and ask someone for reassurance. 3. Tell a loved one so they can keep you accountable. 4. Probably forget about it later that day. 5. Daydream about it to avoid reality. Or 6. Construct a plan you're passionate about pursuing.
Last one.
Got it. Okay. Next. Pick somewhere to live. And this is another picture one. So you can...
I picked.
Oh, what does it look like?
It's the
Okay.
cluttered book one.
It is a cluttered.
Although I'm not
little
that
book
cluttered,
bin.
but the other ones are too neat.
Let me
So I
take a look.
picked
wanna
more
see it.
cluttered than neat, but I'm not that cluttered.
There's a certain something to it,
The,
though. I
the
like
kids call it maximalism now, so now
Exactly.
it's a thing.
Yeah, okay.
It's a thing.
Put a name on it. It's
Mhm.
a
Now
thing.
it's a thing.
Slap a name on it and it's cool. Press next.
Take that, Marie Kondo.
There you go.
Yeah, throwing out my cool shit.
She loves clutter, though. She talks about it.
Would she like our Nicki Minaj collection? I
Of
don't know if she
course.
would.
Wow, that's hilarious.
And the Nicki Minaj painting.
We're big Nicki fans here.
Wow, I see that. I feel like I'm in a sequence of Mulholland Drive.
Chris looks alarmed.
Nicki Minaj.
To
I was
say
like,
the least.
I'm
oh my
surrounded.
god.
You're out wearing pink wigs.
Yeah, all of a sudden you
Would
yeah,
you
you
like
look-
our Nicki Minaj? And all of a sudden I realized
She's
my,
right behind you.
my hands are tied.
I'm like, let's go to the beach.
Yeah.
Beach. Let's go get away. Okay, anyway.
Nicki Minaj, corpses in that room over there.
Nicki
That's
Minaj.
actually the roof. It's wildly
It is.
dangerous.
That's a roof?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
cool. Pick a specific music genre. Maybe we should just give it to Chris. Because if we all
No,
do it,
read
it'll
them.
take
I
1,000
want
years.
you to read them.
Of course I
I
will.
don't want to sit here quietly.
I'll
listening to
remember. I'll
myself.
remember. So
Okay.
I'll yeah.
Okay, pick a specific music genre. Bubblegum pop, sad jazz, nostalgic songs from different times in my life, alternative rock, I prefer podcasts, heh. Or whatever genre that one song I'm obsessing over for the week is.
That one, the last one.
I'm the same way. I beat songs to fucking death.
Yeah.
Currently.
Until I hate it.
Yes. Currently, well, yeah. Currently it's Gangsta Boo by Ice Spice. Look it up. Chris, you would love it. Pick a relationship aesthetic. This is this is so Tumblr and amazing.
Someone made this about Mulholland Drive. How weird.
I know. That's why I'm like, I love the weird ass personality quizzes.
So
we have.
weird.
They're so fun for us.
So pick a relationship type.
Yeah, based on the picture.
Oh man.
I can't wait to see what this shit is.
I'm definitely going with the two chicks smoking cigarettes in bed.
I didn't see that option. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Ooh, ooh.
Hell yeah. Very in line with
Yeah,
what
I don't
we're
smoke,
talking
but
about.
everything else about that sounds good.
Mm-hmm. What movie's main characters would you have as your friend group if you could? Hashtag no new friends, you guys.
Hashtag
But
Winky.
That's it.
Hello?
This is assuming that I need new friends
exactly.
or
I
want
mean,
any.
we didn't say it, you know. The
You
Grand
quizzed
Budapest
it.
Hotel,
No.
Booksmart, Spirited Away, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, or Dead Poets Society.
Dead Poets Society.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
You wanna be friends
I
with a
want
bunch of teenage
I want
boys?
yeah, a bunch of weird.
Uh-oh.
No, he's gonna be friend Robin Williams.
I'm totally
Right.
kidding.
Well, I would
Because-
definitely befriend Robin Williams, and then whenever Ethan Hawke was old enough, probably try to have sex with him.
I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. choose a prom out. There's a lot of picture options.
Oh, really? Okay.
Choose a prom outfit from Pinterest.
Yeah, this is so
This
mean.
person's into Pinterest. This is
They
second
might work for
direct
fucking
Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Reference.
Who knows?
I'm gonna go with this very classy white suit here.
Oh, a white suit.
Okay.
I like
white
I
suit
like
combo?
women in like feminine suits.
I do too. Love a good suit.
A little androgyny.
Yeah.
I don't like big girly stuff.
Yeah, Shay's trying to find a suit for my wedding because
Yeah.
I said bridesmaids.
Are you
or
going
whatever
with
they
suit?
want.
Yeah, I think so. I like a good suit on me. I think it fits my overall vibe. What would you do on your last day on Earth? Find someone to put out my passion project when I'm gone. Have a sleepover with my friends. If you chose that, that'd be very cute. Cook my dream meal.
Just putting a thumb
not
on the
going
scale.
Sleepover with all my fucking friends.
Like, I'd like you to pick this one anyway.
I just said it would be cute if you did.
No.
Because it'd be surprising. Cook my dream meal. Go for a long walk with myself. That also sounds like I'm
Yeah.
going to pick the next one for you. Get on a plane to my dream place. What? Or spend time with my family.
Oh, man, they kind of screw you over in that last one. Like, do you love your family?
Or fucking your
I think
family,
I
bitch.
would find someone to give my passion project to.
Oh.
Not that I don't care about posterity. I don't need to like live on, but I would like, if I'm making work that I care about, I'd like to just release it, give it away.
He's giving it to us, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I kind of define myself maybe too rigidly by my work. I don't like to think of myself only in the terms of my own work, but it tends to be the bulk of my mental space. So I think if I had one day, I'd say like, okay, well, I'm going to go give this thing I did and try to give it to somebody else.
And why would you give it to us?
I think, well, see, I mean, I wouldn't, but if I did in this hypothetically world, no, I'm just kidding. I think you guys would take care of it. You guys would do well with it.
We would.
I know
We
you would.
would hold it so close to
Oh,
our
am I
hearts.
reading the results?
Oh, I don't know.
Was that
just
it?
locked up, so I gave
Oh,
it to you.
no, we have the results.
Oh.
Okay.
You are Rita/Camilla.
Ooh.
People
boom.
look up to you and see you as the pinnacle of beauty and success, but on the inside, you're struggling to find yourself. You often feel disconnected from the world, like you don't fit in, but you don't know why.
Wow.
Thoughts?
I disagree completely.
Fuck
Surprise,
you,
surprise.
quiz.
Everybody's a critic over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I go next?
Yes, of course. Let's
You know
see.
what? Last podcast for Fight Club, we had a discussion of who are you beyond your likes and dislikes.
Mm.
Your
I was just
question
about
is
to
who are
bring
you
that up.
beyond your work?
Right.
It's a good question to ask.
Stacey asked me that, and I was like, well, I think of who I am is who we
Yeah,
live.
it's so much about what are your preferences, but
Well, the thing is, it's not work for me. It's a passion that, and I don't want to disrupt the flow here, but just I feel very fortunate because as a filmmaker, you get to be a professional, interested person. That's what filmmaking is the culmination of so many disciplines and so many interests, and you get to learn about architecture and fashion and music and the performing arts and poetry and carpentry and being an electrician and how to, a technician, how to turn something on and build something from scratch, an engineer. You get to live all these lives.
Yeah.
So I don't really, I've had that battle with myself where I'm more than a film director or I'm more than that. But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with being that because it allows you to be everything. I like to think of myself as a good friend first for the friends I have, not the new ones that I don't want.
Yeah, fuck
But
off.
obviously,
Hashtag no new friends.
Yes, but no, a good friend, a good, romantic partner, a good son, a good whatever. So those are the other things. But I feel like the better filmmaker that I am, the more interested I am, the more empathetic it makes me. I get to experience people's lives as a tourist through film and see what I could never see it through my own small little keyhole. And so I think that makes me a better person on a one-to-one, friend or brother or whatever it is. So yeah, so I really kind of put those qualms to bed about defining myself too rigidly by my work because like I said, I think it really opens me up to a world that most jobs don't do. To me, it isn't a job.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about being a death row lawyer. I
I
learned all
bet.
kinds of crazy shit and get to hear people's stories, and it's cool.
Yeah, I think the longer that you're doing that, which you've always been a super open, amazing person, but even as the years go on, you just become even more open and even more understanding and even more empathetic, and it's very amazing.
Well, I
to
think
see.
it's the magic of storytelling, which film can do, or you can do IRL.
Right.
It's just all about opening up your mind and your heart.
Yeah, which is why you love books, both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Books and stories.
Yeah, stories are. I mean, the stories are everything. That's kind of how we track time through our history. They're what gives us our myths and legends and religions, and it really shapes our morality.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm a non-religious person, non-spiritual person. So I feel like the closest I get to being spiritual is kind of the respect of of storytelling, the human desire. You know, and again, small, tiny tangent, but this idea of like AI, you know, where we're all terrified right now about what an impact it will make on creativity because these computers could just generate things. And it is scary, and there's definitely going to be changes coming, but the desire to hear stories from people, I don't think will ever go away. I think there's something primitive in it.
Well, have you read the book Homo sapiens? I think it's Homo sapiens. But this evolutionary biologist posits that part of the reasons that Homo sapiens sapiens succeeded to the exclusion of all the other upright monkeys was our ability to tell stories. And that was a way that they could use stories to get, like, fight the other apes, for lack of a better term, and, like, really be self-sacrificing and do things that they never could do on their own. And so his whole theory is, like, storytelling is actually literally part of our human DNA and ancestry.
I agree.
I believe it.
I love it. Okay.
All right, you quiz.
Let me see. Okay,
See what these kind of deep quizzes bring out?
Right?
Saying that's why
Like,
we
you
do
never
it.
know what weird internet quiz will do to you.
Also, it's like very nostalgic for us because in like every teen magazine we read as kids, there were always like 17 different quizzes that we would always take to be like, "Are you an Autumn?" And like we just sucked the tea, ate that shit.
I've done a couple. What Batman villains are you? You know, I'm always wanting like the Riddler, but I always get someone lame. I'm like
who?
Trying to think, like Clayface or something. I'm like, I'm the Riddler.
I don't know who Clayface is.
I was just talking to Stacey about how I love Batman.
I love Batman too.
Yeah, it's maybe my favorite like superhero series.
Yeah, I like his superpower is money. I can get behind that.
Hashtag America.
Can you?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, what do you need most at the moment? Do you remember the answers?
Nah.
A night out, confidence, a clear mind, a glow up, real friends, hella rude, or romance.
I agree. Clear mind. I think that's what you said.
Pick
Always
a pair
thinking,
of
you know?
earrings.
Okay. All right, earrings. I like these extremely extra bird ones. There's like a million birds on it.
Let me take a look. Where are they? Oh my god. They're amazing. Okay. What would you choose as a first date? Club Silencio.
Dark Tunnel.
Dark.
I'm just no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Like, really?
No, Club Silencio. Club Silencio is a real place. I'd be like, we're fucking going.
That would be an experience.
And I'm sorry if you don't like it, but we're going.
We're fucking going.
They have the best pre-recorded music you're ever gonna hear.
It's incredible.
I'd be the lady at the front, not singing.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Pick some lyrics that resonate. Some part of me was lost in your sleeve where you hid your cigarettes. I want to ruin our friendship. We should be lovers instead. I probably still adore you with your hands around my neck, or I did last time I checked. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Your mother wouldn't approve of how my mother raised me, but I do. I think I do. Or trying to find the one that can fix me. I've been dodging death in the 6 speed.
I like the mother one. I don't know what lyric that is.
Me neither. But
I'm assuming they're all real lyrics since
This
you
person,
clocked the
I mean, yeah, there's one
Provocative.
from the only one I recognize is the Eagles.
Okay.
I don't recognize any of them.
Me neither. Okay, this is this crazy tiny quotes.
Oh, God.
I like your life isn't yours if you care what others think.
God, yes. Gorgina. When you have a goal in mind, what is your first step in pursuing it? Daydream about it to avoid reality? Keep it a secret? Doubt yourself and ask someone for reassurance? Construct a plan you're passionate about pursuing? Tell a loved one so they can keep you accountable? Or probably forget about it later that day?
Okay, I disagree with the premise of the question. I hate to be all lawyery. But it says, what is the first step you take in pursuing your goal? But I would say I do daydream about it a lot before I get the contours. But it's not to the exclusion of reality. It's just that's part of the process.
Right.
So I'm going to say daydream.
I agree.
But with an amendment, with a
But
an asterisk,
but
with
I
an
don't
asterisk.
agree with the second part.
I can remember thinking that was bullshit too.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you mean?
I was like, "Fuck
like,
this."
You can
lady.
daydream and pursue goals.
Exactly.
I mean, most of my life is daydreaming about what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay, so
Me
this
too.
is like,
That's all I
what
ever do, to be
room
honest.
do I like? Okay, some of these are just like the lone red bed.
I know.
I know. And I thought I was like, "Whoa." Those sheets need to wash.
I'm gonna choose the like old weird
Yeah.
70s house pick because
yes.
that's what I live in.
Yep. No. Is there a Nicki Minaj picture in there?
Oh God, I wish.
Okay. Pick a specific music genre. Bubblegum pop, sad jazz, nostalgic songs from different times in my life, alternative rock, I prefer podcasts, or whatever genre that one song I'm obsessing over for the week is.
Out of all those, I'm gonna go with sad jazz because I love
knew
Lana
you
Del
were
Rey.
gonna pick that.
She's
I,
basically sad jazz.
Sad jazz.
I fucking knew it.
Okay.
This one is the picture of
This is the picture of
romance that she
hashtag
wanted.
relationship goals. The first one's too pretentious. Okay.
I didn't even take a
I
look
like
at
the
it.
people laying in the meadow.
Oh, that's pretty.
I'm gonna do that one.
Too many bugs.
You're like, I disagree. What movie's main characters would have you as your friend group if you could? Wow, why couldn't I read that? Dead Poet Society, Spirited Away, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Booksmart, The Grand Budapest Hotel, or The Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Oh God, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Grand Budapest Hotel just because I love Adrian. What's his name?
He's
Brody.
hot. Brody?
Or is it Adrian Brody or is it Jason Schwimmer?
Schwartzman.
Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman is
The
in-
Jason
They're
Schwimmer's
both in
from
there.
Ross from Friends, right?
Yeah.
They're both in it. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
easy. Grand Budapest Hotel.
Exactly.
And F. Murray Abraham is in it, and he's great.
Yeah,
Who's
I'd
that?
hang out with them.
He's an actor. He wouldn't like me. He wouldn't want to be anyone's friend, but I'd like him
Why?
to be
Why
my
wouldn't he
friend.
like
Maybe
you?
that's an act.
He seems somewhat curmudgeon-y.
These people are actors. We don't know.
I think people
I
would
feel
like
like I know F. I feel like I know him.
You're like,
Yeah.
trust
I feel
me.
that way about so
I
many
feel like
actors.
he'd want me to call him F.
I think Roger Ebert would hate me.
No.
Yes.
Why?
Because, do you think he was pretentious?
No, not particularly.
Oh.
I think he could be an asshole. Well,
Right.
He was kind of an asshole sometimes, but I think he was also a very sincere guy. I don't think he's overly pretentious.
I don't know. Whenever okay.
He gave Hellboy 3 stars. Come on.
Oh,
Did he really?
yikes.
Yeah, how could he be?
He also gave Shrek 4 stars.
So come on.
But I don't know. Most of his reviews, I'm like, God, he would hate me because he's just like, this is like, okay. It was specifically his review of The Grinch that I was like, he would hate me because
Yeah.
I relate so hard.
I hate to do this, but we have low battery.
Oh shit. Okay, go.
We must continue.
Okay, please.
My favorite prom dress is this flowery shit. Next. Okay.
Yes. Here we go.
We gotta make it. I'm gonna save it just in case.
What would you do on your last day on Earth? Spend time with my family, get on a plane to my dream place, find someone to put out my passion project when I'm gone, cook my dream meal, have a sleepover with my friends, or go for a long walk with myself.
I'd have a sleepover with my friends and my family and literally everyone I know because the world is ending.
That sounds fucking incredible. That's exactly what I would do. You are Betty/Diane. You're extremely talented and
Oh.
timelessly beautiful.
Crazy
However,
bitch.
you have a habit of black and white thinking,
Oh.
and you tend to lie to
Whoa.
yourself and
Disagree.
set unrealistic goals. You take things very personally and can easily spiral and hold grudges toward others or yourself.
I'm with you, Chris. This is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
This
this
quiz doesn't
lady-
know me at all.
No, this
No.
lady needs to just go back to Pinterest.
Go to Pinterest
She needs to
land,
go pin some
babes.
stuff.
Okay, we're gonna try to do this 5% battery, Shay.
Here we go.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is the speed run.
Okay.
Okay. What do you need most at the moment? Romance, clear mind, real friends, night out, glow up, confidence.
Romance?
Romance. Next. Pick a pair of earrings.
I hate earrings. These. Go. They're like little gold hoops.
They're little gold hoops. What would you choose as a first date? Club Silencio, a classy fancy restaurant, an underground film screening, the local gardens, a diner, a dark tunnel.
Diner, for sure.
Hell
I
yeah.
love a diner.
Pick some lyrics that resonate. Oh God. Some part of me lost in your sleeve while you hide your cigarettes. I want
I
to
like
ruin
the
our
cigarette one.
Okay.
Okay.
Question 5. Pick this weird ass long quote.
Shit.
This is fun.
Yeah, they should have all been speed rounds.
Yeah, this is like adding some drama to me.
I'm gonna go with yeah, your life isn't yours if you care what other people think.
Yes. Okay. Question 6. When you have a goal in mind, what is your first step in pursuing it? Daydream about. Okay. Love it.
Yeah.
Decisive.
You gotta.
Why do you want to let me select? Okay. Pick somewhere to live.
Oh, I didn't take a look at any of these.
She really wants the red bed, but she's not gonna.
That's what I was
Alone
thinking,
on-
man.
Yeah.
It's dark.
It's silky. I'm gonna go with the. So much pressure. You know, I'll go with the one that has the kitchen in it because I
Cool.
love cooking.
Your food is great.
Thank
Pick
you.
a specific music genre. Bubblegum pop, sad jazz, nostalgic songs from different times in my life, alternative rock. I prefer podcasts. Whatever genre that one song I'm obsessing over for the week is.
I'll go. I have to go with that one.
Okay. Pick a relationship aesthetic.
Here we go. On the stairs, flipping the camera off. LOL. I do. I love a good museum. There's one.
I almost went with the dancing with a museum.
Yeah, I
Oh,
Oh,
love.
so that's when I was like, that's too much. Okay.
Yeah, the
I would
dancing ruined
absolutely
it.
do
If
that.
they were standing there, fine.
Yeah, I like both. I like them dancing and I like the museum.
Which movie you want to be homies with? Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Spirited Away, Grand Budapest, Rocky Horror, Booksmart, Dead Poets Society.
I will go with Booksmart because they're like queer teens and that's pretty cool.
Okay, prom outfit.
I think I might have to go with the suit.
The
as
suit
well.
is
The
sick.
suit is sick. Okay, there you go.
Okay. Then last question, what do you do on your last day on Earth? Long walk, dream meal, plane to dream place, put out your passion project to somebody, sleep over with friends, spend time with my family.
Sleepover.
Oh, okay. You are also Betty Diane. So we're black and white thinkers. We have unrealistic goals, yada yada. Anyway,
So I'm
Hardcore
Rita,
now.
and you guys are Betty, and you're gonna kill me.
we're gonna
Yeah.
kill you. But now it's plug time. We have to plug
Please.
before the battery
All
runs
right,
out.
so I got a million things going on. So
Here we go.
I got the film Bizzaro y Fantastico, which I had made a little while ago. It did really well, which is really great. Thank you guys for all your support and stuff.
Hey, we talked about it at the beginning.
Oh,
we
awesome.
love it.
Oh, thank you. We're developing a TV show version of it over in Europe, so there's some interest. We're getting that developed, which is really exciting.
Nice.
I'm leaving this Saturday morning to go make my first feature-length motion picture in Paris, which is really
So
exciting.
amazing.
It's called L'Imposteur du 16 Rue Ravignon.
Wow.
It's based on a play that I wrote called L'Imposteur, which is getting produced in France this year, which is also really exciting. And then I come back, I'm going to make another movie called Bipolaroid, which Shea is actually going to be
Yes,
I
on.
am. I'm super
So-
excited about
She's
that.
a star.
So we're working on that too. And there's a bunch of other stuff going on too. But
You have a website? You want to shout that
I
out?
do. It's called KRISKRAINOCK.com, KRISKRAINOCK.com. And you can see all the stuff that I have up there and watch videos and films and all kinds of stuff.
Any
Great
other like
website.
social media platforms? you
Just
wanna be followed
Instagram
on?
and Facebook. It's just my name. If you guys follow this podcast, I'm sure you'll put my name in there. You can find me anywhere on those two.
We sure will.
Okay, well, thanks everybody. This has been an amazing conversation.
I
Thank you
hope
so
it
much
was
for
interesting.
coming. I think it was.
We'll see.
Yes.
I
it
think
was
we're
very
mind fucking everybody.
Hope
Okay.
so. Okay, great.
We mind fucked everybody, and I feel like I gained a lot of knowledge today from you, obviously,
No.
and I knew that at the beginning. I was like, we're gonna learn a lot from Chris today, you guys. Just
And
saying.
indeed we did.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank
We
you
sure
guys.
did.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And it's really cool to be here. Thanks.
Yay!
All right, we love you, Blockbuster
Love you
Wives.
guys.
Bye. Thank you to our producer Brent for his editing skills and to Grady for our delightful theme song.
If you have questions for us or would like to advertise with us, please email us at blockbusterwives@gmail.com.
And as always, please rate, subscribe, and tell all your friends about us.
We love you.